In this video, I'm going to look a bit more into the numerology the Satanists are using with this COVID-19 deception. I came across some photos taken at the Prince of Wales Hospital in Sydney, which appeared on the Sydney Morning Herald and the Age newspaper websites. The first of the two photos I'll examine supposedly shows a positive COVID-19 case using the PCR test. I provide more detail on the flawed testing associated with the PCR test in the previous video, which I'll leave a link to below. Now, whenever you see names and numbers on an image published by the media, it's always worth examining the numerology. The first thing to notice is the company name in the top right of the photo. CG is equal to the Freemason number 33 in Pythagorean numerology, and you wouldn't have a hoax without this number. 2019 nCoV, which is the abbreviation for the 2019 novel coronavirus, appears 3 times in this photo and also equals 33, this time in Chaldean numerology. nCoV by itself also equals 18 in Pythagorean numerology, which is code for the mark of the beast, with 18 equal to 6 plus 6 plus 6. Now, it's worth asking the question why the technician is pointing to what would be considered an irrelevant number of 20 cycles on the horizontal axis, given everyone would test negative at that point. Since 0 means nothing in numerology, the number 20 becomes the number 2, which is code for a beast or animal in numerology, because an animal is a two-part creature with a body and spirit, but no soul. The time and date at the bottom right of the photo are also significant. First of all, we see the mark of the beast system number 22, which I talk more about in the video, a key indicator of when the tribulation will begin, which I'll leave a link to below. Also, by adding the hour and day, 11 plus 22, we end up with another 33. Another example of the use of the number 22 is found with the US government's program for supposedly developing a coronavirus vaccine that brings together pharmaceutical companies, government agencies, and the military. The program is called Operation Warp Speed. Both warp and speed equal 22 in Pythagorean numerology, and combined they equal 44, which is Satanic code for death and destruction. Now, the number 37, which we see in the time, is code for Judas Iscariot, which is equal to 37 in Chaldean numerology. This is a common number I see being used by the Satanists, and is appropriate for this test, because as explained in the previous video, they pretend to be diagnosing the presence of the coronavirus from a tiny segment of the nucleic acid part of the virus. But what's actually being picked up is viral-like exosome nucleic acids expelled by a person's cells when they're damaged. Oxford University in the UK could release a COVID-19 vaccine as early as September this year, which could make it the first available vaccine. Oxford is equal to 37 in Pythagorean numerology. Their website, which I'll leave a link to below, says around 1,110 people will take part in the trial, with half, or 555 people receiving the vaccine, and the other 555 control group receiving a meningitis vaccine instead of a placebo, which is common practice in the industry. 555 is a significant number in numerology because it's associated with an authority causing death. Now, the version number of 3.18.005, which appears above the time and date, is also relevant. 3 is the number for the Trinity. In this case, it's the unholy trinity of Satan, the Antichrist, and false prophet. 18, or 6 plus 6 plus 6, is code for the mark of the beast, and 5 is the number for death, with 0 meaning nothing in numerology. So the version number appears to be saying that the unholy trinity will bring in the mark of the beast, which will cause death, in particular spiritual death for those who take the mark and worship the beast. In the second photo, we first of all see the word serology in red, the color of blood. Serology equals 44 in Pythagorean numerology, which is Satanic code for death and destruction. We also see the mark of the beast system numbers 22 and 18. Now, the number 15, or 1 and 5 together, appears to be related to separation. For example, there's a social distancing requirements in Australia of 1.5 metres. Also, the Australian government's COVID-safe contact tracing app is supposed to record everyone who a person has been within 1.5 metres of for 15 or more minutes. and a person is excluded from being able to visit a family member or friend in an Australian nursing home if they don't have the influenza vaccine by the 1st of May or the 1st of the 5th month. As pointed out in the first video on COVID-19, which I'll leave a link to below, there's a massive amount of satanic numerology associated with COVID-19, which would take me many hours to run through. Finally, it would be remiss of me not to briefly repeat the free grace gospel, which is the only gospel that saves, and that is, eternal or everlasting life is received through a simple one-time decision to put 100% of one's faith or trust on the Lord Jesus Christ, understanding that He is God in the flesh, and His death, burial, and resurrection enables the believer to have forgiveness of all sins, past and future. But if someone adds anything to this, whether it's baptism, turning from sins, feeling sorry for sins, asking Jesus to save you, making a confession to Jesus, etc., then they add in works and cancel out grace. So please share this and the other important videos on this channel.